Third poem, The Summer of the Wedding. The chorus. What is this coming up from the desert like a column of smoke, breathing of myrrh and frankincense and every perfume the merchant knows? See, it is the litter of Solomon. Around it are 60 champions, the flower of the warriors of Israel, all of them skilled swordsmen, veterans of battle. Each man has his sword at his side against alarms by night. King Solomon has made himself a throne of wood from Lebanon. The post he has made of silver, the canopy of gold, the seat of purple. The back is inlaid with ebony. Daughters of Zion, come and see King Solomon, wearing the diadem with which his mother crowned him on his wedding day, the day of his heart's joy. All I kept hearing as I was reading it is, it's wedding week, it's wedding week, it's wedding week. Boy, it's really coming to know the song and Christ as the bridegroom has just put such a new perspective on Holy Week. And on Lent, on his passion, on all of it. And I just kept seeing the unity cross. And one of the things that came to me in prayer over the weekend was that he's asking all of us to come to the foot of the bridegroom's cross, the marriage bed of the cross, St. Augustine called it. And St. Matilde said that our wedding bed with the bridegroom is made of wood. And that he's asking us to all come and stand with Mary. In the Unity Cross, she holds a chalice at his side so that his mercy and love, the blood and water that flowed from him, can flow into the chalice. And the vision that I got was each of us standing at the foot of the cross with Mary, but holding out our emptied and purified hearts after going through our Lenten journey, becoming more and more detached, more and more purified through our fasting and our prayer and the sacrament of reconciliation, and to hold our emptied and purified hearts up as chalices that he wants to pour his blood and water into us. If we look at that whole passage, 3:6 to 3:11, we can see it as Jesus's triumphant journey into Jerusalem, and then Holy Week, the Passion, culminating in Daughters of Zion, come and see King Solomon, wearing the diadem with which his mother crowned him on his wedding day, on the day of his heart's joy. So being crowned with a wedding crown of thorns, remembering that it was his passionate love that hurled him on to the marriage bed of the cross to give up his life for his brides and for his bride, the church. So it's wedding week. A week also meditating on it as his marriage bed really helps me to see how just intertwined the agony and the ecstasy are. And how often we try to separate them. We only want the ecstasy, right? We only want the joy. But his life tells us, and the life of Mary tells us, that we can't. We can't. They're intertwined. If we're going to know the true joy of the Lord, we have to suffer with him too. In Brides 3, we were near the end of the song, obviously, and we were talking the last couple of weeks about, this is also very fitting for Holy Week. We're talking about the lines where he says, he says to the bride, how beautiful you are, how charming, my love, my delight, in stature like the palm tree, its fruit clusters your breast. I will climb the palm tree, I resolved. I will seize its clusters of dates. May your breasts be clusters of grapes, your breath sweet scented as apples, your speaking superlative wine. And so the image that he gave to me when I was meditating on these lines is the palm tree is the cross. And when he's saying that he will climb the palm tree, I will seize its clusters of dates, that one of the things that enabled him in his humanity, he suffered, right? In his human flesh, he suffered all that pain. And interiorly, he suffered all the spiritual, mental, and emotional torment that we suffer and all the things that we go through. And yet he kept his eyes fixed at the top of the palm tree. And what is at the top of the palm tree? Those sweet, sweet dates and the palm fronds of victory, right? Where do we see palm branches? We see palm branches are given to martyrs, and all those icons and paintings of the martyrs, they're always holding palm branches because it symbolizes the victory over sin and death that Christ won on the palm tree of the cross. And one of the things that I learned in studying and meditating on those lines was that those dates, that actually in the scriptures, when they talk a lot about honey, it was actually the juice of those dates. Because when the Israelites were wandering in the deserts, they came upon a place where there were 70 of these palm trees, these date palms growing. And they found that the dates could be used for food, for honey, and for wine. They learned how to distill it or ferment it and make a beverage out of it also. And we know now that those palm dates actually have the highest glycemic level of any fruit. So they provided great nutrition for them in the desert. And so this is what the bridegroom is saying in that passage of the song, that it was keeping his eyes fixed on the sweetness of the victory, on the sweetness of his triumph over sin and death, so that we could be one with him in the eternal wedding feast. He could turn his thoughts to that sweetness, to that victory. And I was thinking last night about how, imagining, how we're told in the Bible, right? Seek what is above. We're told to keep our thoughts focused on Christ. And this, I know for me personally, that's one thing that helps me to endure any suffering that I'm going through, is just to turn my attention away from what I'm experiencing and focus on the beauty of Jesus. And then I was thinking last night about he could keep his eyes fixed at the top of the palm tree, at the palm branches of victory and the dates of sweetness. And then he could look down and he saw the Blessed Mother, and he saw Mary Magdalene, and he saw the beloved disciple. And that would have comforted him, motivated him. He saw in Mary, we're taught that Mary is the first fruits of his redeeming act on the cross, that God allowed her to experience that redemption at her conception. And he knew this. And so he could look down at Mary, and he saw already the fruits of his suffering and how that must have consoled him and comforted him in that suffering. And then he saw Mary Magdalene and John, St. John, and their love for him, and how that must have consoled him to know that what he was suffering was going to allow him to be together with them again for all of eternity, that love was not being lost, that it was being redeemed, divinized, glorified. Ponder this week of the bridegroom, wedding week. Truly, he wants to untwist. He wants to make holy and right again what these words mean: marriage, wedding, spousal love, union and intimacy. Just meditating on his life, untwist those words. Shows me what they really mean. He makes visible the invisible realities hidden in the mysteries of God.